The warning lights inside the small ship turned red. Smoke filled the cabin. Lieutenant pulled hard on the controls, but nothing worked. His ship was falling fast toward the green planet below. "Come on," he said through his teeth, "just a little more." But the ship did not listen. It fell through the clouds like a stone thrown into water. Could see the ground coming closer and closer, trees, mountains, a wide forest that seemed to go on forever. He had been sent here on a simple mission. The planet was home to an ancient alien race. They were tall, beautiful beings with pale blue skin and silver hair. The humans wanted peace with them, was supposed to deliver a message from Earth to their queen. But something had gone wrong. His ship had been hit by weapons fire just as he entered the planet's sky. Someone did not want him to reach the queen. The ship hit the top of the trees first. Branches broke and flew everywhere. Then it hit the ground hard, felt his body thrown forward. Pain shot through his chest and his head. Then everything went black. When opened his eyes, he did not know how much time had passed. Minutes, hours. He tried to move, but his whole body hurt. Blood ran down the side of his face. He touched it and looked at his red fingers. "I am alive," he whispered. "That is something." He looked around the broken ship. The front window was gone. Smoke still came from the damaged parts. His communication device was destroyed. There was no way to call for help. Slowly pushed himself up. Every movement hurt, but he was a soldier. He had been trained to keep going even when things were bad. He found his bag and took out his small knife and water bottle. These were the only things that survived the crash. He climbed out of the ship and stood on the soft ground of the forest. The trees here were very tall. Their leaves were purple and gold, colors he had never seen on Earth. Strange sounds came from deep in the forest. Bird calls, animal cries. This place was beautiful, but it was also dangerous. Started walking. He did not know where to go, but staying near the crashed ship was not safe. Whoever shot him down might come looking for him. He walked for a long time. The sun on this planet was larger than Earth's sun. It gave everything a soft orange light, was tired and thirsty. He drank small amounts of water to make it last longer. Then he heard something, a sound that was different from the forest noises. It sounded like metal, like broken machines. Moved carefully toward the sound. He hid behind a large tree and looked out. What he saw made his heart stop. There was another crashed ship in a small clearing, but this ship was different. It was white and gold with beautiful designs on its sides. This was a ship, a royal ship. Around the ship stood several figures. They wore dark armor and carried weapons. They were not. Their skin was green and their eyes were yellow. Recognized them from his training. They were enemies of the rebels who wanted to destroy the royal family. The soldiers were laughing. They kicked at something on the ground near the ship. Looked more carefully. His eyes went wide. On the ground, trapped under a piece of the broken ship, was a young woman. Her silver hair was dirty and mixed with blood. Her blue skin had cuts and marks, but even hurt and dirty, she was the most beautiful being had ever seen. She wore a white dress with gold lines. A small crown sat on her head, broken but still there. This was not just any, this was a princess. "Look at her," one of the soldiers said. "The great princess, not so powerful now, are you?" Princess tried to move, but the metal held her down. She looked up at the soldiers with angry eyes. "My mother will find you," she said. Her voice was weak but proud. "You will pay for this." The soldiers laughed again. "Your mother thinks you are dead," another soldier said. "We made sure of that. By the time anyone finds you, it will be too late." Felt his hands become fists. He was just one human. He had no weapons except a small knife. There were 6 soldiers, all with guns. The smart thing to do was to walk away. Find the capital, tell someone about the princess, get help. But looked at again. She was trying so hard to be brave, but he could see the fear in her eyes. They would not let her live. They would kill her or worse. Thought about his own life. He was just a lieutenant, a simple soldier from a small planet, no one important. But his father had told him something when he was young. A man is not measured by his rank, his father said. He is measured by what he does when no one is watching. No one was watching now. No one would know if walked away. No one would blame him. But he would know. He would have to live with that choice forever. Took a deep breath. He looked at the soldiers again, counting them, watching how they moved. 2 stood near the princess. 2 more walked around the ship. The last 2 sat on rocks, eating food and not paying attention. It was not much of a chance, but it was the only chance he had. Picked up a rock from the ground. He moved quietly through the trees until he was behind the 2 eating soldiers. His heart beat so loud he thought they might hear it. Then he threw the rock far to the left. It hit a tree with a loud sound. "What was that?" one soldier said. He stood up and pointed his gun toward the sound. "Go check," another soldier ordered. "Could be more." 2 soldiers walked toward where the rock had landed. That left 4. Moved again. He came up behind one of the sitting soldiers. Before the creature could turn around, put his arm around its neck and squeezed. The soldier tried to fight but held on. After a few seconds, the soldier went quiet and fell down. Picked up the soldier's gun. He did not know how to use alien weapons, but he would learn fast. The other soldiers saw their friend fall. They shouted and raised their weapons. Fired, the gun made a bright light. 1 soldier fell, then another. But the other soldiers fired back. Felt something hot cut across his arm. He fell behind a tree, breathing hard. Blood ran from his new wound. Princess watched with wide eyes. She did not understand. Who was this strange creature fighting for her? "Run," she shouted at. "Save yourself, you cannot win." But did not run. He stood up again. He fired again. Because some things were more important than winning. Some things were more important than living. And saving an innocent life was one of those things. The fight was fast and loud. Moved from tree to tree, firing the alien gun whenever he could. The soldiers shouted in their strange language. Their weapons made the air hot with red light. Was not a perfect fighter, he was just a human. But humans had something special. They did not give up. Even when things looked bad, they kept fighting. 1 more soldier fell, then another. But the 2 soldiers who had gone to check the noise came running back, now faced 4 enemies again. A shot hit the tree next to his head. Pieces of wood flew into his face, fell back and rolled on the ground. His arm hurt badly. His head was still bleeding from the crash. He was getting weak. But he could not stop, not yet. He looked at Princess. She was still trapped under the metal. Her eyes watched him with a mix of fear and something else. Hope, maybe. Fired twice more. 1 shot hit a soldier in the leg. The creature screamed and fell. The other soldiers moved behind the crashed royal ship for cover. This was his chance. He ran faster than he had ever run before. His legs burned. His chest felt like fire, but he reached before the soldiers could stop him. "Hold still," he said to her. He put his hands under the heavy metal piece and pulled. It was so heavy. His muscles screamed. His wounds opened more and blood fell on the ground. "You cannot lift it," said. "It is too heavy. Leave me and save yourself." "No," said through his teeth. "I did not come this far to leave you." He pulled again. Something in his back made a bad sound. Pain shot through his whole body, but the metal moved just a little. "Pull yourself out," he said, quickly. Moved. She used her hands to drag herself forward. Her leg was hurt, but she moved anyway. Inch by inch, she came out from under the metal. Just as she got free, shots came from behind them. Dropped the metal and threw himself over, covering her body with his own. He felt something burn his back. Another hit, but he did not move. "Stay down," he whispered to her. He turned and fired at the soldiers. The gun made a clicking sound. Empty. Threw the gun at the nearest soldier. It hit the creature in the face. The soldier fell back, surprised, picked up a piece of broken metal from the ship and swung it like a weapon. The first soldier came at him, hit it hard across the head. The soldier dropped. Another soldier grabbed from behind. Strong arms wrapped around his chest and squeezed. Could not breathe. He kicked backward, hitting the soldier's knee. The grip became loose, turned and hit the soldier in the throat. 2 soldiers left. They both raised their guns. Had no weapon now. His body was broken and bleeding. He stood between the soldiers and his arms spread wide. "You want her," he said. "You go through me." The soldiers looked at each other. Then they laughed. "Stupid human," one said. "You will die for nothing." "Maybe," said, "but I will die standing." The soldier pointed his gun at his chest. Then something happened. A sound came from the forest. A loud, angry sound. The ground shook. From between the trees came a huge creature. It was like nothing had ever seen. It looked like a mix between a tiger and a dragon, with 6 legs and scales that shined like metal. Its eyes were red, and fire came from its mouth. One soldier shouted, "Run!" The creature attacked the soldiers before they could move, did not watch what happened next. He turned too. "Can you walk?" he asked. "I think so," she said. "My leg is hurt, but I can try." Helped her stand. She was tall, taller than him. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders. Even now, hurt and dirty, she looked like a princess. "We need to go," said. "Now, before that thing finishes with the soldiers and comes for us." They moved into the forest, leaned on her arm around his shoulder. Every step hurt them both, but they kept moving. Behind them, the sounds of the creature and the soldiers faded. Soon, the forest was quiet again. They walked until the orange sun started to go down. The sky turned pink and purple. The forest became darker. "We need to stop," said. "You are hurt badly, you need rest." "I am fine," said, but he was not fine. His body shook. His vision went in and out. He had lost too much blood. "You are a terrible liar," said. "Sit down, let me look at your wounds." They found a small cave behind some rocks. It was not much, but it would hide them from anyone looking. Sat down against the wall. He tried to stay awake, but his eyes kept closing. Sat next to him. She tore a piece of her dress and used it to wrap his arm wound. "Why did you do it?" she asked softly. "You could have died. You almost did die. Why save me? You do not even know me." Looked at her. In the dim light of the cave, her eyes were like stars, deep and bright. "I did not think about it," he said honestly. "I just saw you in trouble. I could not walk away." "Most beings would have," said. "Self-preservation is the first law of nature. All creatures protect themselves first." "Maybe humans are different," said with a weak smile. "We do stupid things sometimes." Shook her head slowly. "Not stupid, brave, there is a difference." She finished wrapping his wounds. Then she did something that surprised him. She took his hand in hers. "Thank you," she said. "I do not know your name, but thank you." He said, "My name is." She repeated. The name sounded beautiful when she said it. "I am Princess of, and I owe you my life." "You do not owe me anything," said. "Just rest now. We have a long way to go tomorrow." Looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. She sat close to him, sharing warmth in the cold cave. Outside, the forest night had begun. Strange sounds filled the air. But in the small cave, 2 beings from different worlds found a moment of peace. Knew tomorrow would be hard. The rebels would look for them. The forest was full of dangers, and he did not know how to find the capital. But for now, they were alive. They were together, and sometimes that was enough. He closed his eyes and let sleep take him. In his dreams, he saw Earth. He saw his home, his family, the blue sky and green fields. But then the dream changed. He saw silver hair and blue skin and eyes like stars. And for the first time in a long time, felt like maybe there was something worth fighting for beyond just duty. Maybe there was hope. The morning came with cold air and gray light. Woke up feeling like every bone in his body was broken. His wounds from yesterday had become stiff and painful. But when he saw still sleeping next to him, her silver hair falling over her peaceful face, he remembered why he had to keep going. He stood up slowly, trying not to make noise. His back hurt where the weapon had hit him. When he touched it, his hand came away with old blood. The wound needed proper care, but there was nothing he could do about it now. Opened her eyes. For a moment she looked confused. Then she remembered where she was and who she was with. She sat up and looked at with worried eyes. "You look worse than yesterday," she said. "I feel worse than yesterday," admitted. "But we cannot stay here. The rebels will be looking for you. We need to reach your capital." Stood up, testing her hurt leg. She could walk, but with a limp. Together they made a poor team. Two broken people trying to survive. "The capital is 3 days' walk from here," said. "Through the forest, across the river of stars, and over the glass mountains." "That does not sound easy," said. "It is not," replied. "The forest has dangerous creatures, the river is wide and fast, and the mountains are cold and steep. Many travelers have died trying to cross them." Took a deep breath. 3 days. In his condition, he was not sure he could make it 3 hours, but he did not have a choice. "Then we better start walking," he said. They left the cave and entered the forest. The purple and gold leaves looked less beautiful now. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Every sound could be a danger. Walked close to, she was quiet for a long time, then she spoke. "Tell me about Earth," she said. "I have never met a human before. My people know very little about your kind." Thought about home as they walked. "Earth is a small planet," he said. "Not as beautiful as, but it is home. We have blue skies and green grass, mountains and oceans, cities full of people." "Are all humans like you?" asked. "Like me how?" "Brave, selfless, willing to die for a stranger." Smiled sadly. "No, humans can be good and bad. We have heroes, but we also have villains. We fight wars against each other. We hurt each other sometimes. But we also love deeply. We protect the people we care about. We never stop trying to be better." Looked at him with curious eyes. "Your kind sounds complicated." "We are," agreed. "But I think that is what makes us strong. We are not perfect, but we keep trying. We fall down and we get back up, again and again." They walked through the forest until the sun was high in the sky. His body grew weaker with every step. He stumbled often. Each time he forced himself to keep moving. Then they heard it, voices behind them, harsh voices speaking the language. "They found us," whispered. Her face went pale. Looked back. He could see figures moving between the trees. 10, maybe more. The rebels had sent a large group to hunt them. "Run," he said. "We need to run." They ran, or they tried to run. His legs slowed her down. His wounds made every step agony, but fear gave them speed they did not know they had. The forest became thicker. Branches hit their faces. Roots tried to trip them, but they kept going. Behind them, they shouted. They were getting closer. Saw a large tree with a hole in its trunk. "There," he said. "Hide inside." "What about you?" asked. "I will lead them away. Stay hidden until they pass, then keep going toward the capital." Grabbed his arm. "No, I will not leave you." "You have to," said. "You are the princess. Your people need you. I am just a human soldier. I do not matter." "You matter to me," said. Her eyes were wet with tears. "You saved my life. You are the bravest person I have ever met. I will not let you die for me." Looked at her. Something passed between them in that moment, something deep and real. He reached up and touched her face gently. "Then we run together," he said, "until we cannot run anymore." They ran again. They were close now, could hear their heavy feet on the ground, their angry shouts. Then they reached the river of stars. Had not been wrong about the name. The river was wide and fast. The water was clear, and at the bottom, stones that glowed like stars lit up the water. It was beautiful and deadly. We have to cross, said. The current is too strong, said. We will be pulled under. Looked back, they were coming through the trees. They were out of time. Hold on to me, said. Do not let go no matter what. He took his hand and jumped into the water. The cold hit him like a wall. His wounds screamed with pain. The current pulled at them, trying to drag them down the river, but kicked hard. He used his free arm to swim. He held onto with his other hand. Keep your head up, he shouted over the water's roar. They fought the river. Every stroke was a battle. The current was strong but was stronger. He refused to give up. He refused to let the water take them. Behind them, they reached the river's edge. Some tried to follow, but the current took them quickly. They shouted and fought the water before disappearing downstream. And reached the other side. They pulled themselves onto the bank and lay there, breathing hard. Water ran from their clothes and hair. They were alive. How did you do that? Asked between breaths. The current was impossible. Humans are good swimmers, said weakly. We have a lot of water on our planet. He tried to smile, but his body had reached its limit. The cold water, the running, the fighting, the wounds, it was all too much. His vision went dark around the edges. I said. He heard her voice, but it sounded far away. He felt her hands on his face, trying to wake him. Stay with me, she begged. Please. We are almost there, just one more day. Please do not leave me. Wanted to answer. He wanted to tell her he would be fine, but his body would not listen. The darkness took him, and he fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. Held him close. She did not know if he would wake up. She did not know if they would survive, but she knew one thing for certain. This human, this stranger from a distant planet, had given everything for her. He had fought, bled, and suffered to keep her safe. No one had ever done that for her before. Not the royal guards, not the nobles who claimed to serve her family, not anyone. She looked at his peaceful face. Even hurt and dirty, he looked kind, good. I will not let you die, she whispered. I promise. Whatever it takes, I will get you to the capital. I will save you like you saved me. She gathered her strength. Then she did something no princess had ever done before. She lifted the human onto her back and started walking toward the glass mountains. One step at a time, one breath at a time. They would make it together, or they would not make it at all. The royal palace stood at the heart of the great city. Its walls were made of white stone that shined in the sunlight. Tall towers reached toward the sky, and gardens of silver flowers surrounded every building. It was the most beautiful place on the planet. But inside the throne room there was no beauty, only sadness and anger. Queen sat on her throne, her face like cold stone. She was tall and proud, with silver hair that fell to her waist and eyes as blue as the deepest ocean. She had ruled for 50 years. She had seen wars and peace, joy and sorrow, but nothing had hurt her like the news she received 3 days ago. Her daughter was dead, shot down by rebels over the Forbidden Forest. The guards had searched for 2 days. They found the crashed royal ship. They found the bodies of dead soldiers, but they did not find Princess. She is gone, her advisors told her. The rebels must have taken her body, or the forest creatures. They did not finish the sentence. They did not need to. Queen had not cried, queens did not cry, but inside her heart had turned to ice. Her only child, her precious daughter, gone. Now she sat in silence, listening to reports from her generals. The rebels were growing stronger. More attacks were happening every day. The war that everyone feared was coming. Your Majesty, a general said, we must strike back. We must show the rebels that we are not weak. Strike back, the queen's voice was cold. My daughter is dead. Nothing we do will bring her back. But Your Majesty. Enough, the queen raised her hand. Leave me, all of you. I wish to be alone. The advisors and generals bowed and left the room. The great doors closed with a heavy sound. Queen was alone in her empty throne room. She allowed herself one moment of weakness, One single tear fell down her cheek. Then the doors burst open. Guards rushed in, their weapons ready. Behind them came more guards surrounding two figures. One was tall with silver hair and blue skin. The other was smaller, with strange pink skin and dark hair. Queen stood up so fast her crown almost fell off. The princess limped forward. Her clothes were torn and dirty. Her body was covered in cuts and marks, but she was alive. She was alive. Mother said. Her voice was tired but happy. The queen ran down from her throne. She did not care about dignity. She did not care about looking like a proper queen. She held her daughter in her arms and held her tight. "I thought you were dead," she whispered. "I thought I lost you." "I almost died," said. "I would have died, but he saved me." She turned and pointed to the figure behind her. The guards still had their weapons pointed at him. Stood there barely able to stand. His wounds had become infected. His face was pale, almost gray. He had walked the final distance on pure will alone. Now that will was gone and his body was failing. But he stood straight. He looked at the queen without fear. "Who is this creature?" Queen asked. "He is human," said. "His name is. He found me trapped under my crashed ship, surrounded by rebels. He fought them alone with no weapons to save me. He carried me through the forest, across the river of stars, over the glass mountains. He almost died many times protecting me." The queen looked at the human. He was so small compared to her people, so fragile. Yet he had done something that none of her powerful warriors had done. "Is this true?" she asked. Tried to bow, but his legs gave out. He fell to his knees, then forward. Guards moved to grab him, but was faster. She caught him before he hit the ground. "Get the healers," shouted. "Now he needs help." The queen said, "He is just a human. Our healers do not know how to." "I do not care," said. Her voice was strong and angry. "He saved my life. He gave everything for me. I will not let him die. Not here, not like this." The queen saw something in her daughter's eyes, something she had never seen before. Love, deep, true love. "Bring the healers," the queen ordered. "Do everything you can." The guards carried away, tried to follow, but her mother stopped her. "You need rest too," the queen said gently. "You have been through much." "I cannot rest," said. "Not until I know he will live." "Tell me what happened. Tell me everything." So told her story. She told of the crash, the rebels, the rescue. She told of how fought 6 soldiers with nothing but a knife. How he lifted metal that should have been too heavy for any being. How he covered her body with his own to protect her from weapons fire. She told of the 3 days in the forest. How never complained even when his wounds got worse. How he gave her his food, his water, his blanket. How he stayed awake at night, watching for danger so she could sleep. She told of the river of stars. How jumped into the deadly current to save them both. How he fought the water with pure determination. And she told of the glass mountains. How finally fell unconscious, and how she carried him on her back for a whole day and night. How she refused to leave him behind. The queen listened in silence. When finished, there were tears in both their eyes. "This human," the queen said slowly, "he is not like the others we have heard about. The stories say humans are weak, selfish creatures who only care about themselves." "The stories are wrong," said. "Is the strongest person I have ever known, not because of his body but because of his heart. He risked everything for a stranger. He never asked for anything in return." The queen looked at her daughter carefully. "You love him." It was not a question. Did not deny it. "I did not expect to, I did not want to, but yes, I love him. Is that wrong?" "Love is never wrong," the queen said. "It is the most powerful force in the universe. It can bring down empires or build new ones. It can start wars or end them." A messenger ran into the throne room. "Your Majesty, the healers say the human will live. His wounds were bad, but he is strong. They say they have never seen a creature fight so hard to stay alive." Relief washed over his face. She let out a breath she had been holding for days. "Thank the stars," she whispered. The queen watched her daughter. Then she made a decision that would change everything. "Bring me the ancient book of laws," she ordered. A servant rushed to get the book. It was old, older than the palace itself. It held the laws and customs written by the first kings and queens thousands of years ago. The queen opened the book and read silently. Then she smiled. "There is a law," she said, "from the time of our ancestors. It says that any being who saves the life of a royal, who risks their own life without thought of reward, shall be given the highest honor our people can offer." "What honor?" asked. The queen looked at her daughter with knowing eyes. "The law says the hero shall be joined with the royal family, bound by blood and marriage." His heart started beating faster. "Mother, what are you saying?" "I am saying that this human has done something no one else has ever done. He saved my daughter. He proved that his heart is pure and his courage is true. By our ancient law, there is only one proper reward." She closed the book and stood tall. "When the human recovers, I will give the order myself, according to the law, according to tradition, and according to my own heart." Felt tears fall down her face, happy tears. "Thank you, mother." The queen held her daughter close. "Do not thank me, thank him. He earned this reward with his blood and his bravery." In the healing room below, slept peacefully. He did not know what was coming. He did not know that his life was about to change forever. All he knew was that he had done the right thing, and sometimes doing the right thing was its own reward. But the universe, it seemed, had something bigger planned for him. Opened his eyes slowly. White light filled his vision. For a moment he thought he was dead. Maybe this was what the afterlife looked like. Then he felt the soft bed under him. He felt the warm blankets around him. He heard strange beeping sounds from machines nearby. Not dead, alive. He tried to sit up, but his body felt heavy. Strong but heavy, like he had been sleeping for a very long time. A face appeared above him. Blue skin, silver hair, eyes like stars. "You are awake," she said. Her smile was brighter than the sun. "How long?" asked. His voice was rough and dry. 7 days, said. She sat on the edge of his bed and took his hand. "The healer said you should have died. Your wounds were too bad. You had lost too much blood. But you refused to die. You kept fighting even when you were sleeping." Looked around the room. It was beautiful, with white walls and silver decorations. Flowers sat in vases by the window. This was not a simple hospital. This was a royal room. "Where am I?" he asked. "The palace," said. "You are in the palace, in the guest room next to mine. My mother ordered the best healers in the kingdom to care for you." "Your mother, the queen." Nodded. "She wants to meet you, properly this time. When you fell in the throne room, she was very worried." Remembered now. The long walk to the capital, the guards finding them at the gate, the grand throne room and the tall woman with cold eyes. Then nothing, just darkness. "I must have looked like a fool," he said, falling down in front of the queen. "You looked like a hero," said. "You walked for 3 days with wounds that would have killed anyone else. You carried me through the mountains. You fought and bled and suffered for me. No one thinks you are a fool. Everyone thinks you are the bravest person they have ever seen." Felt embarrassed. He was not used to praise. On Earth, he was just a simple soldier, nothing special. "I should get up," he said. "I should meet the queen properly." "Not today," said. "You need to rest more. The ceremony is tomorrow." "Ceremony? What ceremony?" His cheeks turned a darker shade of blue. Was she blushing? "My mother will explain. Just rest now. Save your strength." She stood up to leave, but held her hand. He said, "Thank you for not leaving me behind, for carrying me when I fell. I heard your voice, you know, when I was unconscious. You kept talking to me, telling me to keep fighting. That voice kept me alive." His eyes became wet. "I was so scared," she admitted. "I thought I was going to lose you. I could not bear that. After everything you did for me, I could not let you die." "Why?" asked. "I am just a human, a stranger from another planet. Why do you care so much about me?" Looked at him for a long moment. Then she leaned down and kissed his forehead softly. "Because you are not a stranger anymore," she whispered. "You are the man who saved my life, the man who showed me what true courage looks like, the man I—" She stopped. Her face was very blue now. "The man you what?" asked. "Rest," said quickly. "We will talk tomorrow, I promise." She left the room before he could ask more questions. Lay back on the bed, confused but happy. Something was happening, something big. He could feel it. The next day came quickly. Servants brought new clothes, fine white robes with gold lines similar to what he had seen wear. They helped him bathe and dress. They fixed his hair and cleaned his face. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. He looked like a prince, not a simple soldier. "What is happening?" he asked the servants. They just smiled and said nothing. Guards came to take him to the throne room, the same room where he had fallen 7 days ago, but now it looked different. There were flowers everywhere. Hundreds of filled the space, all dressed in their finest clothes. Music played softly from somewhere. At the end of the room, Queen sat on her throne. She wore a crown of silver and diamonds. Her face was no longer cold. She looked almost warm. Next to the throne stood. She wore a white dress that seemed to be made of starlight. Her silver hair was decorated with small crystals. She was the most beautiful being had ever seen. The guards led down the center of the room. Every watched him. He felt their eyes on him, judging, wondering, curious. When he reached the throne, he kneeled down before the queen. "Rise of Earth," Queen said. Her voice filled the room. "Stood up." "You came to our planet on a mission of peace," the queen said. "But fate had other plans. Your ship was destroyed. You crashed in our forest. And there you found my daughter in the hands of enemies." She paused. The room was completely silent. Any other being would have walked away. The rebels were many. You were alone. You had no weapons, no help, no reason to fight. But you did not walk away. You fought. You bled. You nearly died for a stranger, for my daughter. The queen stood up from her throne and walked down to stand in front of. "I have ruled this kingdom for 50 years, she said. "I have seen many warriors, many heroes, many brave souls, but I have never seen courage like yours. You showed something that my own soldiers lack. True selflessness, true honor." She turned to face the crowd. "Our ancient laws speak of rewards for those who save royal blood, for those who risk everything without thought of gain. The law is clear on what must be done." She turned back to, "Of Earth, you saved my daughter. You protected her with your own body. You carried her across rivers and mountains. You gave her your food, your water, your warmth. You gave her everything you had." Queen's voice became softer but stronger at the same time. "By the ancient laws of, by the traditions of our ancestors, and by my own royal command, there is only one reward fitting for what you have done." She looked at, then back at. "I will wed you to my daughter." The room exploded with sound. Voices shouting, people clapping, music playing louder. Stood frozen, unable to believe what he had heard. "Your Majesty," he said, I cannot. I am just a human, a soldier. I am not worthy of." "You are worthy," Queen said firmly. "More worthy than any prince or noble in the galaxy. Worthiness is not about blood or titles. It is about the heart. And your heart of Earth is the I have ever known." She took his hand and placed it in his hand. Looked at with tears running down her face. Happy tears, joyful tears. "Is this what you want?" asked her quietly. "You do not have to do this because of law or tradition, only if you truly want to." Smiled through her tears. "I wanted this before my mother even spoke of the law. From the moment you stood between me and those soldiers, I knew. You were the one I had been waiting for my whole life. But I am human. We are so different. our peoples, our cultures, everything. We are not so different, said. We both believe in protecting others. We both believe in love. We both believe that some things are worth dying for. That is all that matters. Felt his own eyes become wet. He had come to this planet alone. He had expected to die in that forest. Instead, he had found something he never knew he was looking for. A home, a family, a love. Then yes, he said, if you will have me, yes. Laughed and threw her arms around him. The crowd cheered louder. Even Queen smiled. The ceremony that followed was long and beautiful. Ancient words were spoken. Promises were made. Rings of silver starlight were exchanged. When it was over and stood together, hand in hand, husband and wife, Queen approached them one last time. You are part of our family now, she said. Part of our world. Your people and mine will be joined through this union. Perhaps this is what fate intended all along. Perhaps peace between humans and was meant to begin with love, not treaties. Bowed to the Queen. I will spend my life trying to be worthy of this honor. I will protect your daughter, your kingdom, and the bond between our peoples. I know you will, the Queen said. You already proved that when you were just a stranger with nothing to gain. Now you have everything to gain, and I know you will protect it even more fiercely. That night there was a great celebration. Music and dancing filled the palace. Humans and two peoples from different stars came together in joy. Stood on a balcony looking up at the night sky. Somewhere out there far away was Earth, his old home. Came to stand beside him. Do you miss it? She asked. Your planet, your people. Thought about it. I will always love Earth, he said. But home is not just a place. Home is where you belong, where people love you, where you can be yourself. He turned to look at her. You are my home now. Wherever you are, that is where I belong. Leaned her head against his shoulder. Together, they watched the stars. A human and two beings from different worlds, brought together by chance, bound together by courage, united forever by love. And somewhere in the universe, fate smiled. Because sometimes, the greatest adventures do not end with victory or treasure. They end with something much more precious. They end with finding where you truly belong.